It's high summer in Mongolia. Horses are everywhere. In fact, they form the heart of this festival, known as a Nadan. It's a celebration of so much that Mongolians are proud of. Their love of horses and their extraordinary skills handling them. Races are the big attraction. They're run over huge distances. 24 kilometers just to get to the start line, another 24 galloping back. How old are you?
14.
14 years old. When did you start riding?
He started when he was 6.
You were 6. Amazingly, they start professional racing at the age of 6 here. The horse culture runs very, very deep. And in fact, for thousands of years, people here have been so successful managing, breeding horses, they've actually exported that culture far beyond Mongolia. The key to this success with horses is rich pasture, the grasses that form the steppe, the immense land that stretches all the way between Europe and Asia. And it was here, several thousand years ago, that horses became central to life. A new breed of horse arrived, one that could be ridden for the first time, and it really started to flourish. These archaeologists are looking for traces of them buried in ancient tombs. They want to find the start of what became a profoundly important connection between people and horses.
It's a very big deal because actually,
Ursula Brosseder says that this period became pivotal to human history.
We think that these people are the first riders. They are the first ones who, traveled across space at much greater speed than ever before. And so that ultimately led to then warfare on the horseback and the first empires up to Genghis Khan and the first Mongol Empire who conquered the world.
Horses were also essential to the beliefs of the people here. We're going to look at this little bit of rock art here. Sagan Turbat says the afterlife depended on them.
Most archaeologists could say that it could be dated early Iron Age, 2,500 years before now. Before now.
2,500
yeah,
years ago.
yeah,
Great.
yeah. Everywhere we find horses. Horse was important not only in the everyday life. It was occupied a very important role in the spiritual life. The nomadic people believed that the horse coming from the sky, heavenly horses. Also, they played a very important role in the funeral rites. The soul of the deceased person must go to his ancestors. So horses coming from ancestors' place, so horse can bring them to the ancestors' place.
The horse takes them there.
Takes them to the ancestors' place.
This region in particular, in central Mongolia, became the great cradle for horse production. There were so many that vast numbers could be sent all the way to China.
Here they can produce horses. Late Bronze Age, there was huge amount of horse population is growing, explosion, and they could provide thousands of horses each year toward China, which allows them to have some handicraft productions, including silk, of course, and metals, and also some food.
So we're now following the ancient trail to China. We want to see how horses could have been traded this way, on a route that's not as famous as the Silk Road, but just as important. These grasslands, they just go on forever and ever, one valley after another. It's amazing. Little bump coming up. Okay, big bump. Okay, very careful. All right. The road can look smooth and isn't. So we're in a province called Arkhangai, and actually this is where about 1,000 or so years ago Genghis Khan had his capital. And we're just driving through these immense plains, which proved so useful for sustaining enormous herds of horses. Yeah. That's after 1,000 kilometers and another 1,000 to go as we head to China. As our journey unfolds, there's one stunning sight after another. Horses dominate each of a series of landscapes, just as they would have done in earlier ages. There are very few people here. Their homes are isolated and mobile. Families move with the season. We come to the Ongi River. This valley became one of the most important trails. It's an extraordinary thought that this valley, over the last 3,000 years or so, on and off, would have seen great herds of horses driven south to China. It must have been an incredible sight.
We're on a site that's called Shazin Kot, translates as Porcelain City.
Nearby lie the ruins of an old trading centre. The ground is littered with fragments of porcelain from China. This place must have been significant. A son of Genghis Khan spent a winter here.
The major item of trade from Mongolia to the south for thousands of years was horses. So it's very likely indeed that this was the point at which Chinese material was coming north and horses were coming south. To in any way combat the Mongols, the Chinese needed horses which they could only really obtain from here.
So this was a kind of meeting point, a sort of trading post in a sense.
There would have been traders out around here, but this was a sort of royal point of living and celebration. So a real demonstration of the importance of the connection with China for the Mongolian royal family.
As we push further south, the Ongi River becomes a lifeline, a ribbon of bright colour in terrain that's suddenly more parched. Moving horses through here wouldn't have been easy, but was obviously possible. The project artist, Miranda Creswell, captures the shifting colours.
We had an incredible thunderstorm last night. You get tiny bits of green that are popping up, but they're very subtle and they'll probably go tomorrow. This landscape is extraordinary because it's getting drier and drier, and not only that is that you have these black rocks that kind of protrude from the top of each mountain, and I suddenly realised there was a very, very straight edge, and I'm pretty sure that this bit here is a shrine because it feels kind of too regular, and you wonder why someone went up to the top of that mountain and put a shrine there. Is it linking with the trade route? Is it linking with the monastery down below? Why is it there?
I can't quite believe how rapidly the scenery is changing. I mean, Yesterday we were in rich grassland. This morning the grass did seem quite a lot drier. Now we've arrived in the Gobi Desert. How hard is it to find our destination?
Sometimes there are almost no mountains that we can rely on. So we have to rely on the satellite GPS.
I love the thought of how, thousands of years ago, people managed to navigate successfully without any of this tech.
Oh yeah, I wonder. I can only wonder.
The scenery becomes wilder and less hospitable, and there's much less for horses to eat. This land was often contested, sometimes used for trade, sometimes the scene for war. And what we're searching for in this alien world is a very unusual landmark, a relic from an invasion by China. It's like something from the landscape of Mars, but we're heading up to find an inscription left by an invading Chinese army. I'm sorry, I'm out of breath. I think the altitude is quite high. It's hard to find and very far from the tourist trail, but we make it to a cliff. Here, 2,000 years ago, this black rock was carved with these Chinese characters. It was a declaration of victory, even though the army was actually in retreat. What this shows, though, is that a large force with horses could travel here.
So if you're marching an army, you have massive needs for water, for fodder for your animals, for food for your people, and marching along the river valley would be the obvious thing to do. And that was a rather extreme version of what people did when they traded south, where they had all the same needs of water and food and so on. So what enabled an army to come north also enabled the horse traders to go south. What we're looking at here is the celebration of victory. It must be said in a fairly remote sort of place. I think we're all pretty wowed by the sheer remoteness of this location.
The approaches to the Chinese border are as far as we can go. But we've seen how horses could have been herded through this land for a trade that proved hugely significant. It allowed empires to rise in China and on the steppe and go on to shape world history.
Just follow the path.
It's a story of global importance that also touches people personally. Our guide, Bilgun, a young Mongolian, felt the journey connecting him to the past.
We can see the ancient cultures revolving around the horses. Here we can see a horse who is riding by itself, and right behind it there's a horse with a rider who is currently buckled his weapon to his belt. And right underneath that you can see one galloping horse, and the person is almost upright on the horse trying to hunt an ibex.
Bilgun regrets that his generation became cut off from the ancient horse culture. So he's now motivated to rediscover it and revive it.
As an urban kid, I was not very familiar with nomadic heritage. And when I go to the countryside and see the amazing culture revolved around the horses, it got me goosebumps that I'm living in this amazing culture. With this shameful thing in my mind, I tried twice harder to know my heritage, which got me into this position right now.
The horse trade with China is over, but its legacy continues in the joy and the pride of a living bond between the people here and their horses.